Have you just purchased a brand new 2025 model Chevy 2500? You've booked in with Norweld, you've got the tray on the back, but you're wanting to get the vehicle performing really, really well, no matter the environment, no matter what you're towing behind the vehicle itself. This one here, it's a little bit of a difference. This one, we're going to go for a drive in stock form. We've got it back in the workshop. We're actually going to show you a full walk around on this one here before we do the build. I'm Dean Bleasner, the co-founder of Big Dog Builds. We've had well over 650 trucks through the workshop now in a short 3.5 years. The Chevy 2500 HD is fast becoming one of the most popular HDs in Australia. The Norweld tray on the back. Be sure to see a whole lot more Norwelds hitting the Chevy platform, as well as the Ram, the Ford, any of the HD truck platforms with a canopy on the back end. And just remember, if you're interstate and you're wanting to get your vehicle up into Big Dog Build, we can sort out your transport options from around Australia, get the vehicle into the workshop, fly in, stay local for a couple of days, learn the new build, get a final handover, and then enjoy the truck all the way back home, wherever home is. Now let's get into this full walk around in stock form. I've got some parts out of the workshop shelf. Hopefully the team don't up me tomorrow. We'll go through what parts we're going to install in this vehicle build here. The customer even walked in and saw the Big Dog Builds roof rack, so we'll go and find one of those ones as well. But let's start up the front end here and talk about the Chevy 2500 with the Norweld with the Essentials kit. Starting at the front end of the Chevy 2500 HD 2025 model, it's one of the best looking HD trucks in the country, in the world, a matter of fact. With the model that comes through GMSV here in Australia, they look great from factory. They're pretty much chrome deleted from factory as well. The only chrome is in the bow tie on the front there. It's not the flow tie. The flow tie is in the ZR2. It's got the airflow going through it. So and there's the bow tie. We got the Duramax badges on the bonnet. We can chrome delete those ones there. You got your Cat 6 indicators on the side. Whether you're wanting to delete the tow hooks, black them out, do any sort of custom color coding, we've got you sorted there. The factory bumper, it's pretty solid. It definitely looks the part. But going and adding some front end protection is going to give you better ground clearance. It's going to give you better protection out the front. It's going to be able to house a winch. And you've also got the LED lights that you can put in the bar as well. Multiple different bar options. Behind me, we'll go through them in just a second, but we'll swing around here and talk about the factory suspension and the wheels and tires that come on the Chevy 2500 HD. When it comes to the wheels and tires, the factory 20-inch wheels, they're not bad. They definitely look all right, but with the Goodyear Wranglers in the AT tyre running truck pressures in these tyres, I've had a few customers get stakes in them. They're definitely going to do okay, but with a 20-inch wheel and a 275/65/20 tyre, I think stepping down to an 18-inch wheel, going up a little bit in the tyre size is going to give you a much better ride. But these ones here won't fit on the most popular suspension kit, which is the BDS 3-inch suspension kit. It'll hit on the upper control arms at full droop. So what we need to do is go a little bit wider in the offset, and that's where the wheel and tyre combination comes into play. A better width wheel and tyre combination, a little bit better offset, much better tread. A smaller rim with a bigger tyre means that you can air down, hit the beaches, hit the corrugations, and be a whole lot better. The factory suspension setup, although the torsion independent front end suspension setup's quite simple in the Chevy 2500, I mean, it works, it's not too bad, but in my personal opinion, the Rancho shocks should get thrown in the bin. That's where we go and install something much, much better. A 2.5-inch remote reservoir shock, something like the Fox in the BDS suspension kit, has got dual speed control, both low speed and high speed. Having the full adjustability in those shock absorbers is going to get you much better performance. And with the customers that have towed on these standard Chevy 2500s, you wouldn't even know the caravans on the back if it came to how much power these trucks have. But what we hear feedback on is how they porpoise a little bit. What I mean by porpoising is they're bouncing up and down because of the trailer weight on the rear end of the vehicle, whether that be the back end of the vehicle bouncing up and down, but it also follows through the whole vehicle itself, and you get the front end wallowing up and down as well. With the better suspension kit, the suspension dialed in, and the full ride performance change that we offer in the Essentials kit, it's going to give you a much better ride, and that comes down to wheels, tyres, suspension, and some airbag leaf helpers in the back end there. But putting it simply, the factory vehicle, yes, you can throw a van on the back, but for the conditions around Australia, adding something like the Essentials kit is going to make it a whole lot more comfortable for you. You're going to be a whole lot more comfortable, you're going to be a whole lot more safe, and you're going to be able to drive those extra distances without really gripping the steering wheel too much. and freaking out about what's behind you. The side of the vehicle, before we get into the Norweld Elite tray combination that's on the back end there, obviously they've got the factory side steps underneath this one. You've got your weather shields that have been added from the dealer before it's come in, and it looks like a bit of window tint's been added to this one as well. Inside the vehicle, completely stock. We actually don't do too much inside the vehicles anymore because what comes standard in these Chevy 2500 platforms, a whole lot more than your Land Cruiser. There's 4 cup holders just up the front there without even counting the 2 in each door. So there you go. Jumping in that one there, you've got your factory brake control already standard. It's one of the best looking dashes out of any of the HD trucks on the market today. And it's definitely one of the best converted vehicles. That's from left-hand drive to right-hand drive. It's fully remanufactured. You can't call it just a steering conversion because there's a whole lot more that goes into this one here. With the way that they do the conversions, the professionalism in the team down there do such an amazing job. There's no way the standard user would open the door and think that this one here came into the country left-hand drive. They do an amazing job both inside the vehicle, inside the engine bay, and everything performs really, really well. But we can make things a little bit better when it comes to fold down side steps. And then what's up on top, just a bare roof, the Big Dog Builds accessory rack up on top, and switching all the lights on that roof rack we'll get into when we head over to the other side. That comes down to the Switch Pro switching unit. One more thing before we get into the Norweld Elite tray and just how amazing this setup is. Thought they'd lock the toolboxes there. New little hinges that they're running there at Norweld's definitely amazing. But before we get into that combination itself, I'll pull out one of these impressive wheels and tyres that have been fitted. What the team have done here, they've already had the tyre pressure sensors installed into these wheels and tyres. So this one here's got the little apex valve ready to deflate down to hit the beaches in a matter of seconds. This one here is a KMC Mesa forged monoblock wheel. So it's an 18-inch wheel. It's a 9-inch wide wheel and it's got a -12 offset. And what that means is it's going to push away from the suspension components. It's going to need the color-coded flares up the front end. And we can pull out these rear on the Norweld tray, slide out the mud guards, and that's going to cover the new wheel and tyre offset really, really nicely. Nitto Ridge Grappler tyre, that's a 35, 12.5, 18. Fast becoming one of the most popular wheels and tyres in the shed. The Nitto Ridge Grappler definitely plays the part. And as you can see, the factory wheel being a 20-inch wheel, going down to an 18-inch wheel with a slightly bigger tyre. Nothing too much bigger, as you can see there. You're a 34.1-inch size standard tyre, I believe. This one here is a 35 tyre, but it's a 12.5 wide. So it's a fair bit wider in the tyre itself. What that means is when we deflate down, hits things like the beaches, these things here are going to give you a much wider footprint. Wider as in forward to back, as well as wider itself. So that's going to give you a much better ride in pretty much every single road condition. A much stronger sidewall in the Nitto Ridge Grappler as well. So the factory wheels and tyres, sadly, they usually get thrown in the bin or sold on Marketplace. All right, that's about it for wheels and tyres. I'm going to clear the trolley out of the way. I'm going to show you everything to do with this Norweld Elite tray because I think it could be the perfect option if you're wanting toolboxes, if you're wanting water on board from the get-go. Something like this could be the perfect stage one. As you can see, this vehicle went straight from the dealer. It's literally got 30 kilometers on the clock. Went straight from the dealer to Norweld here in Brendale. The team at Norweld installed the new Elite Series tray for the Chevy 2500. This tray combination has got it all built into the one. The team at Norweld have obviously been around a long, long time. They build their trays and canopies for a purpose, and that's because it works. It's strong, it's usable, and it won't let you down. With the toolboxes, there is a fairly new design, I believe, here, where the doors are actually, the hinges on the doors are pretty smart, where they'll actually stop midway through the motion. The wind won't pick that one up and flick it around. And so that's a new little thing that I think is only been out for a little bit, but the Elite Series tray, instead of having the typical checker plate down the side that Norweld Deluxe tray have, the new Elite Series tray's got more painted, color-coded items. So given the vehicle color code, they're going to do the tray sides to that, the toolboxes, as well as the infill pieces in the tray itself. That's both around the sides, and up the back end is just all alley. So the aluminium obviously looks the part. I used to be a fan of the black trays, black canopies and things like that. by using these Norwelds more and more and just seeing how easy it is to work on them and around them, especially from the people in the workshop working on the vehicles, being able to do things like slide out these mud guards just with 4 bolts, undo those 4 bolts, slide that one out, reposition them. Those little differences there just make this thing so much easier to work on. If you need to get in underneath the tray, for example, the things like the toolboxes can come off in a heartbeat, throw them back on, and then you've got the usability of having both a tray and then a lift-off canopy on top there as well. With the wheel and tyre combination that we showed that we're going to put onto this vehicle here, although the 35-inch tyre does fit up underneath, you've also got these little spare wheel holders on the tray board itself. Those ones there, you can put your rod on, and then your spare wheel locks into there, and then you just lock the spare wheel against the side. So you can run twin spares on the back of the headboard there, and you can also have one up underneath. So if you're carrying things around, if you've got a trailer on the back, for example, and you're hitting those crazy cattle stations, sort of off-grid things, and you want to carry a few different spares, then this sort of setup could be perfect for you. What this customer is going to be doing is running a couple power outlets from an under-seat battery setup, which we'll get into on the other side as well. And you're going to be able to run an Engel fridge or a Waco, Dometic, whatever brand you like on the back there. You're going to be able to plug your fridge in full time. You're going to have an outlet there to run things like that. Inside the vehicle itself is going to have 240 volt as well as 12 volt outlets as well. So additional fridge, that's going to go under there. This customer's walked in and also seen our Big Dog Builds accessory rack for the roof. So we're able to put that one on and then pop a solar panel on to keep that under-seat battery set up nice and topped up as well. For the Norweld Elite Series tray, I'll swing around to the back here, unhook that one. It's so new, I don't want to put the first little scratch on it, but Norwelds are built to last. They're built because of the strength in them. And that one there folds down super simply. Then you got your 2 tray sides as well. Again, folds down, nice and simple. Move that so it's not going to scratch on anything. And you can just see how much room you've got up on here. Got your big, strong aluminium tray. You got your rubber mat on there. There's already the tie down points in the 4 different locations. And then when the canopy bolts onto the top, it's already got the nutserts in the tray base itself to line up the canopy mounting points, fix that canopy on. With lifting the canopy off, putting the canopy back on, it's going to look bloody good no matter what style you want to run. And these tray sides as well, if you're wanting to keep them off, you simply, a little bit tight because it's brand new, but these little tray sides, wiggle that one off there. Obviously, once you do it a few times, it'll loosen up a little bit. But you can throw that one aside, put the canopy up on top, and once the canopy comes off, I just don't want to scratch someone else's pride and joy after Norweld have done such a good job on it. So here we go, line that one back up, slide that one on, and we're good, ready to rumble. So I'll put this one back together, look under the back end there and see how Norweld have come and done all of the different cross collision avoidance systems. They've got that nice and neat now in the back end there as well. So everything on it is, like I said, built for purpose. It's definitely strong. It looks the part. The trundle drawer on the rear end as well. Decent sized trundle drawer. It's got another little rubber mat on there as well. You got a little prep bench that you can run with. And that's what I was talking about with that spare wheel rod. So bolt that into the headboard, and you got your big wind nut there as well. That'll lock in your spare wheel, keep it nice and secure up the back there. And you even got your little maintenance guide as well. Scotch guard, maintenance guide, you name it. The Norweld team have thought of everything, and that's all in there as well to get stuck into once you get back home. Smells the part, important things. And then the team at Norweld have obviously done a really neat job on the rear end there. The new tail lights look the part. The 2 different cameras that were in the tailgate on the Chevy tailgate get relocated down the bottom here. And we've got options now available to relocate that 3rd brake light, put that one at the back here if you're going to have the canopy on full time or most of the time. We've got an option that we can do that one at the back here as well. And that's going to allow you to run pretty much any setup, see behind you, see down to the tow ball, and see when you're backing up to things as well. The 12-pin plugs are being relocated up on top. There's the room there that we can install the grey and the red Anderson plugs on the back end there. And then the GM camera kit's been relocated as well on the back. If you've got a caravan or you're looking at upgrading, I highly recommend doing the GMSV camera kit onto the back end of the van, because you plug that one straight into here and you can run that one through the factory screen. If you haven't seen that one yet, I definitely recommend looking up some videos online, because it is pretty handy. We should get our hands onto a caravan at some point and show you that one live while we're driving. Connect the caravan, go for a drive and show that GMSV camera setup, because it is quite neat. And that's pretty much everything out the back end here. You've got your little LED lights for the number, the license plate that pops on top there as well. The team have definitely thought of everything. And that comes down to Norweld being in the game more than pretty much any canopy company in Australia. They do what they do for a reason, and that's because it works. One more thing that the team have done, I did forget about it, that's a water tank. So the water tank is underneath the front end of the tray here. Let's see how smart ChatGPT is. Chev 2500 Elite tray water tank size. I'm cheap, I've only got the free version, so won't be as quick. 40 litre or a 58 litre poly tank? I'm assuming it's a 58 litre water tank because it's a bigger vehicle. So 58 litre water underneath the tray itself. Got your gravity fed hose there. Then you've got your water inlet up on the tray headboard and the breather valves up there as well. So you've got your diesel on the other side, your AdBlue on the other side to fill up and keep everything happy. The water on this side here, easy outlet down the bottom, and that's pretty much it, ready to rumble. So if you have ordered a Norweld tray or you want to order a Norweld tray, we can make that process nice and easy. Whether you're wanting to get stage one just with the tray installed with the build here at Big Dog, if you're wanting to add the canopy on pretty much full time, that's when we will adjust the suspension a little bit differently in the rear end. And we've got a few different GVM options, so talk to us about that option. If you've got something heavy coming on the back in the next couple months, then we'll get it dialed in from the get-go. If the team at Norweld have installed a tray at the start and then you're wanting to install a canopy down the track, even if you're on the road full time, Norweld have got locations all the way around Australia, and we can make that process nice and easy as well. Get the vehicle set up, ready to go, book in with your tray, book in with your canopy, get your canopy installed. Even if you're on the other side of the country, the team at Norweld will plonk that one on and you'll be ready to continue traveling. And like I said, we can relocate the third camera that's up in the third brake light, put that one on the back as well. And that way your digital rear view mirror isn't going to be just looking at the back end of the canopy. Now let's run through the mods that we're going to do to this build here to get it driving a whole lot better than factory. Future-proof the build and get it ready to travel around Australia, these weekend getaways. We'll start just over here with the suspension kit, the front bar combination, and we'll flick over to the other side there and show the roof rack and the under-seat battery setup. So we showed you the wheel and tyre combination, which is the KMC wheel in an 18-inch with a 35, 12.5, 18. And that wheel and tyre combination is going to fit a whole lot better when we go and install the BDS 3-inch suspension kit. You can see the Fox box there at the bottom, the 3-inch BDS suspension kit with the Fox 2.5 remote reservoir shocks has got everything in it. You got your torsion keys, which are going to allow the vehicle to raise up and down in the front end. We've got the rear lift blocks, which are going to raise up the rear end and keep it nice and leveled. Then we've got the front shocks, the rear shocks, and a few other bits and pieces to make sure that the sway bar stays in the spot it's supposed to be, as well as a tiny little diff drop there as well, which means that even set to the 3-inch, the CV angles are going to be happy, and we haven't had any issues to date. The beauty with this suspension kit as well is we can set the front end of the vehicle up 1.5 inch up to the 3-inch. To be honest, most kits that go out of the workshop here are set around the sort of 2.5 inch mark, because that's the sweet spot when it comes to a good wheel and tyre wheel alignment, So with the good wheel alignment set to the right suspension height, the vehicle's going to stay nice and happy. But it is quite easy, even while traveling around Australia, to raise the weight off the front of the vehicle. And then you can adjust the front torsion keys, and that's going to raise up the front of the vehicle, get another wheel alignment, because it will start sagging a little bit while you travel. With the rear end of the vehicle, we've got those little lift blocks, like I said, and then we've got the Boss triple bellow airbags for this 3-inch suspension kit. The beauty with these 3 bellow airbags is the adjustability in these airbags, either on the fly or just manual inflation, means that you can pump the airbags up manually at the back end of the vehicle. We put them nice and neatly at the back end of the Norweld tray. And if you're wanting to step up to the next level, that's when this bad boy comes into the play. This one here is the Logic Air IQ kit. And that one comes with a dedicated compressor just for the airbags. This one here isn't big enough to inflate your tyres, to be honest. It'll do it, but it'll take a fair bit of time. So what we do is use this one for a dedicated compressor for the airbags. And this little module up the front here is the Wi-Fi unit, which goes to a Wi-Fi remote control. You've also got an Android and an Apple app to connect to the App Store. Get that one logged in. You can preset 7 different trailer settings. You can individually go to those 2. So those 2 little valves there go to each individual airbag. So the compressor pumps straight into those airbags through the module, and that's gonna inflate, deflate those ones, even while on the fly. Once you know where your pressures are, a standard airbag kit might be enough, but if you're wanting to get the maximum out of your ride, being able to adjust it on the fly, have the passenger play around with it, see what settings the vehicle drives best at. It comes down to a combination of tyre pressures, suspension settings, airbag settings, and also loading up the van or the boat on the back, because you can set your vehicle up as well as you can, but if your trailer's not dialed in as well, you're never going to get the best ride possible. So that's the suspension, the airbags, the Air IQ to pump up and down the suspension. Up the front end here is what we've got for the front bar going onto this vehicle. This is the Outback Kitters pre-runner style bar for the Chevy 2500. This one is one of the most popular bars kicking through the workshop at the moment. The beautiful texture black bar, nice and solid. We've got a 15,000 pound carbon winch going onto this combination as well. And the Outback Kitters bars come standard with the LED lights in both of the wings. And then you can choose a different weld-on spotlight tabs on top of the front low hoop. So this one here, as you can see, we've got the 2 spotlight tabs welded on here. We've got the Baja Design LP9 Sport LED lights, and these lights are a combo light. So you got a mixture of spot lenses in there, as well as the combo or the flood lenses on the bottom, which makes it light a combo. You're gonna get good distance, as well as good spread out of those ones there. And obviously you could choose to run either 2, 3, or possibly even squeeze in 4. And the team here, we go to that extra effort to make sure that these lights are wired nice and neatly. We go and do all of our wiring looms in-house. We got everything run through the hoop itself, so it's nice and neat. We Deutsch plug everything, and it comes down to having the neatest wiring set up for the vehicle. The new fuse set up underneath the bonnet itself. We've got the full power panels now available as well, and that's going to really future-proof these vehicles to make sure that you get the best out of the vehicle. The neatness in the wiring might just look pretty, but it's not just about the looks, it's how you can fault find and look for an issue down the track if there ever was one. If you had a rock flick up, pinch a wire, for example, and short out a cable, pop a fuse, it's going to be nice and easy inside the engine bay to look for that and get it rectified. So neatness of wiring definitely looks the part, and it's going to save you time down the road if you ever have any dramas. The carbon off-road 15,000 pound winch is one of the most popular winches that we do on the market. The team have installed that one inside the box here, and that one there's got wireless remote control. We also relocate the plug-in remote control to inside the engine bay itself, because these bars are quite hard to get access to the top of the winch controller, almost impossible to be honest. So what we do is relocate that one up into a usable location. If you think you're going to need the winch, turn on your isolator, have spare batteries for your wireless remote controller, and if you're needing to plug in the controller, pop your bonnet, get in there and get it sorted. Get you out of the pickle, but let's face it, you're probably going to pull your mate in the Land Cruiser out instead. Perfect example of what you should put on top of your Chevy 2500 roof, and this is the Big Dog Builds accessory rack for the Chevy 2500. Once you peel that little blue thing away from there, we've got the 50-inch steady curved LED light bar on the front end there. You got the 4 steady LED side lights, and these ones here color change in between white and amber. What that means is you can hold down your little finger on the side, have the lights on white, look for a camp spot, for example, and then going to an amber light, dimming those ones down through the Switch Pro unit is going to give you the best output and the best experience. The Switch Pro unit, we talk about them a lot. We see them installed. That's your little switching wire that runs into the cabin itself. And most of the time, all we see is this nice little neat switching pad itself. So you got these little push button switches on this one here, the little cover plate that pops over the top. And as you can see, that's got the CAN bus wiring there, 4 switches for 8 different channels. And you can do some programming through that one there. but what's even easier is doing it through an iPhone or Android app. And the main unit that sits inside the engine bay is that bad boy. Your little plug-in unit to go into your controller is that one, and the rest of the wiring goes into this one. Main power input goes into that, and it's quite simple. So with the wiring, it definitely looks quite confusing when you first see it. There's a whole heap of different colored wires that goes into that one main plug, but you've got ignition wire, you've got high beam trigger, and then you've got earth, and the rest of those ones there are all the different outputs. With the Switch Pro SB9100 switching unit, you've got 8 different channels. 4 of those channels have got a 30 amp rating, and 4 of those channels have got a 15 amp rating. What that means is things like light bars, if it's under that 30 amp, you can run straight from those higher current switches straight to the unit itself. And if you've got the side lights, they definitely don't pull much power at all, so you can run those ones off the smaller units. And if you've got something bigger from that Switch Pro as well, something like an air compressor that's going to pull a massive amount of power, all you're simply doing is using the Switch Pro output to trigger another external powered relay. And that relay is going to open up, turn those compressors on, and then you turn it back off through the Switch Pro unit itself. So you give it power, you give it earth, ignition trigger, high beam trigger for this one here is the most popular. That one then is connected to the vehicle. When the ignition's on, your high beam turns on, the lights are going to turn on. You've got full app control and programming through the Switch Pro app itself. You've got low voltage disconnect built into there as well. You can even do things like strobe mode or flash mode, burst strobe. You can even dim down the switches as well. So those side lights, like we talk about in a lot of videos, dim down those 3 different levels, and that's going to allow those lights to come down to a nice level and not blind you in the eye. And the newest thing as well to switch through the Switch Pro is something like the Starlink unit up on top of the roof rack. This vehicle here is getting a underseat battery unit. If you don't have that external battery to power something like a Starlink unit, they do pull a fair bit of juice. They pull something similar to a small fridge, 40, 50 litre fridge output. We do a Starlink kit now for the roof racks, and that one there's a drop down nice little panel between the 2 little crossbars, and then the Gorilla mount bolts to that one. The beautiful thing with running the Gorilla mount on the Big Dog Builds accessory rack is you can quite simply remove the unit itself from that mount, purchase another Gorilla mount with the magnetic bases, and you can pop that onto other vehicles. Use your Starlink across a range of vehicles, not just dedicated to the one. And it takes 2 little security screws to undo that one. It's quite simple. With the power loom, we run that one up with the rest of the wiring for the roof rack. And so that one will stay on the vehicle itself. And with the Starlink power loom that comes standard when you buy the Mini, you can use that one through something like a jump pack. I recently did a bit of testing up on Fraser with the battery jump pack. It ran the Starlink Mini for about 4 hours, and then I charged up the pack while we were driving. So the Mini is definitely changing a lot of people's lives when it comes to working on the road. Don't do that. I'll get in trouble big time if I scratch it. But swing around here and we'll show you the little crossbars on the roof rack and how easy it is to install a couple of those little roll nuts. I get asked in a lot of videos how you attach accessories onto the rack itself. And as you can see here, you got the little stainless roll nut. That one there's an M8 thread that goes into it. And you quite simply pop it into the channel. You don't have to undo the backbones, for example. You slide that one into place, pop that one down, and with the little ball on the base, it's gonna pop up, sit against the surface of the roof rack. You then put your accessory over the top, and the M8 bolt will go down and attach into that roll nut. You're gonna have to trim down the bolts because obviously if you hit the base of that one there, it's not gonna tighten down. So either washer up the accessory that you're mounting or trim down that bolt as well. And that one simply then just pops out, get a little screwdriver, and that one there simply pops out unless you got big fingers like me, and always everything's a struggle. But that one there, obviously for the Gorilla mount, the Starlink bracket, we'd roll that little channel nut in, get that one into place, line up the holes, then you're ready to secure that one down into the position. So nice and simple. If you don't want it kicking around, take that one out and then just pop it out. So we supply spare ones of those ones there. If you've got a roof rack and you're missing those ones or you want to buy more, get in touch and we'll send some out. And that makes a roof rack very, very simple. You can do things like shovel holders, Max Trax universal mounts, little tie down points, you name it. These roof racks are quite universal, which means that you can mount pretty much anything on top. I've had people strap down kayaks, for example, but all of the cabins on all of these vehicles aren't very strong. So I wouldn't recommend doing something like a rooftop tent or adding too much weight on top. Solar panels, max tracks, shovel holders, Starlink, and you're pretty much set. You got lighting all around, and you got the most important accessories to go and travel around Australia. So when it comes to inside the Chevy 2500, obviously an amazing looking vehicle, plenty of room, even for adults in the back seat. You got your USB charging points, you got your cooler seats in the back as well. Not cooler, heater seats at the back as well. So that keeps everything nice and warm in the bum. You got little storage pouches in the side seats. You got your little cup holders in the side there. Shout out to the 79 owners once again, because it's just too easy. But when we lift up these back seats here, as you can see, the vehicles come with a standard little parcel shelf. That one's gonna be quite handy, to be honest, but we can remove that one there. We can put in the under-seat battery setup. That's gonna give you a massive 2000 watt inverter, 200 amps of lithium. We've got a few different charging options, and we've got a couple different battery setups with a new one soon to launch as well. So 2000 watt inverter, 200 amp lithium. You got outlets inside the cab. You got outlets onto the Norweld tray there as well. So you can run a fridge full time quite easily. And then if you double that up with the Big Dog Builds accessory rack up on top, whack a solar panel up that's going to trickle charge down and keep this battery nice and charged. If you commute to works like me and it's bugger all, my battery set up under the back seat still doesn't charge very well. So adding a solar panel onto the vehicle is going to get that one trickle charged all day long. You're going to have power inside the cab. If you're going to do a Norweld tray like this one here, add a canopy on the back end later on. You can go for a smaller battery setup, for example, little weekend getaway pack. You got your inverter under here to keep that nice and simple. Or if you're like me, I'd probably pay the money and double it up. Good power inside the cab, good power inside the canopy as well. Run the coffee machine, run the ice machines, run the air fryers, and not have to worry about power setup. Then obviously if you've got the caravan, you got even more. If you're going away with the boat on the back, you can still have the luxuries. That's where the under-seat battery setup comes in handy. That's where this customer is going to have the dream setup with the Norweld tray on the back, the under-seat battery setup, the Switch Pro, the roof rack, you name it, this vehicle's getting it. Oh, brand spanking new. Had to put a dealer plate on it, and it's got 33 kilometers. So we're in a brand new Chevy 2500. Just about to go for a drive. I don't get to drive the new Chevys that often in stock form anymore. It's been quite a while. I used to drive a lot of vehicles when we were first starting off, or first getting the new vehicles. When it comes to new vehicle platforms, I always jump into them because you need to know the vehicles, how they drive in stock form before modifying the vehicle, to know that the improvements that we've done for suspension, all the different upgrades that we do, obviously want to do it for a reason. And jumping in a brand new vehicle is the only way that you're going to see the before and after. And I did just jump in with my trusty tape measure as well. This vehicle has gone from the dealer straight into Norweld to get a tray. And what I was curious on, we've got some weight scales arriving to the workshop very shortly. So we're really going to be able to get into an in-depth run through on how much all of the accessories weigh in our vehicle builds. And that's one thing that I've sort of know what a touring setup is worth weight-wise once we're done. But getting in and working out an essentials package, whether it's just got a Norweld tray on the back, how much heavier that is compared to just the standard tub, for example. I'm sure the team at Norweld have got those figures for a factory tub versus a tray setup. This one's obviously got the trundle drawers, the toolboxes, the water tanks, all of those things as well. So I'm really looking forward to getting the weight scales into the workshop where we can measure all four wheels independently, and we can see things like before and after weights, how much the popular builds are, how much GVM you've got left, and then as well as the setups from running your caravan on the back, so the ball weight, or the van on the back as well, and then going from there. So yeah, so that's it. I jumped in this one. We're just going and doing a little bit of filming. So I thought, what better time to drive a factory vehicle and talk about how this vehicle came into the workshop and then what we're going to do to improve the ride in it as well. So I actually jumped under the vehicle itself, and I measured from the axle up to that spring seat, or the bump stop seat, and measured a factory brand new stock vehicle still with the tub, and I measured the Norweld tray one as well. This one was 10 millimeters or so lower than the other one. I don't know whether I just parked it on uneven ground, but I'm really curious to see the weight differences for a tray setup compared to the factory tub. Just keeping in mind that you've got water, you've got those toolboxes, you've got plenty more room in something like a basic Norweld tray setup. So this customer's come in. Obviously the Chevys, they drive bloody well standard. You can feel those smaller bumps as well, especially the little cat's eyes on the road. Those little cat's eyes, you feel every one of them more so than after the build, and that comes down to running high pressure tyres, so 488 kPa in the rear tyres. I always get that conversion as well. One thing with the Chevys is you can't program them into PSI, but the 480 kPa in the rear, 420 in the front. You got high pressures in a 20-inch wheel with a lower profile tyre. You feel all the little bumps on the road. A lot of customers that have been running the factory wheel and tyre combination, I've had a fair few that have staked the sidewalls on the tyres, so they're obviously not as strong as some of the aftermarket options, especially in the hybrid and the aggressive all-terrains that we do a lot of. But getting in there and feeling the vehicle before and after, I thought what better day to get in with just the Norweld tray on the back. You're going to see plenty of other Norweld tray builds coming into the workshop very shortly. We can get these things dialed up, get your American truck dialed in with the tray combination, and just remember, if the lead time from Norweld, the canopies are a little bit longer than the tray itself, we can get the whole vehicle dialed in, get the tray on the back, and you can pop into any Norweld around Australia and you can get a canopy installed for a small stage 2. It'll only take the team a day or 2 at most. They got these things dialed in, just like we have at the workshop. So when it comes to a stock Chevy 2500 straight from the showroom floor into Norweld, now into Big Dog Builds for the Essentials package, with a few creature comforts there, of course. If you've got a Chevy 2500 on order, an F-Truck, a Ram 2500, there's the new models coming very shortly. Or you've got one of the 1500s, F-150, Tundras. We're keen to get your build into the workshop. We don't build every single one the same. We don't have limited options. We'll build the vehicle to suit your needs, and that's what this Chevy 2500's come in for. And guys, if you like this Chevy 2500, check these two out. And if you want to see these things boogie up the beach and another cool one, those two there, have a watch of them as well.